Genie, are you still there?
We're just days away from the card of all time, UFC Fight Night, Amanda Lemos versus Virna Jandiroba, back at the Apex. This is a phenomenal card. Not only we got one of the Usman bros, just the legacy in the making. We've got Kurt Hollabaugh on the main card. I cannot wait to watch this one. This is incredible. I'm going to quit waffling and let's get right into it. The first fight of the night, Muhammad Usman versus Thomas Peterson. Muhammad Usman versus Thomas Peterson. Muhammad Usman coming off of a decision loss to Mick Parkin. Wouldn't say either fighter particularly looked amazing that fight. Mick Parkin just ahead by a little bit, but Mo Usman, he's a blob. He's not as big as like Shamil or any of those like Parisians, those types, but he's a blob. He looks like he's got some muscle, but he's an exterior of fat, and he's honestly really low skilled compared to his brother. He's not anything. Thomas Peterson, though, he's not that crisp on the feet. His grappling's Am I gonna pick Mo Usman? Thomas Peterson lost to Jamal Pogues in February of this year, and yeah, I'm gonna go with Muhammad Usman, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, next fight up the card, Luana Carolina versus Lucy Pudilova. This is really close in the line for some reason. I don't really get it. Luana Carolina coming off a win over Julia Stoliarenko. She made her cry like a little girl. That's not an incredible feat, though. Stoliarenko cries a lot. Pudilova, what was her last win? She's lost her last two. Alan Perez and Jocelyn Edwards both beat her in 2023. I'm going to go with Luana Carolina. I think it's a pretty good pick, to be honest. If the line closes that close, I'm definitely betting Luana Carolina. I think she definitely should be like minus 200 at least. Pudilova, she kind of sucks, and Carolina has a little bit of, I wouldn't say potential, but she's got something on she's got a little bit of something there. I'm going to go with Carolina by decision, will be the official pick. Next right up the card, we got Loic Radzhabov versus Trey Ogden. Loic Radzhabov coming off a round 3 KO win over Abdul Al-Sawadi or something like that. There was both of their UFC debuts. It was a close fight before that, but Loic got that round 3 finish and sealed the deal, right? Trey Ogden coming off a dominant win over Kurt Hollabaugh. I'm going to have to go with Trey Ogden. He has a 3-inch reach advantage, and I wasn't incredibly impressed with Loic's finish in his last fight, even though I did pick him to win. I thought it was really close before that. If he didn't get that finish, it was going to go to a split most likely. I'm going to go with Trey Ogden to win a decision. Next fight up the card, we got Miranda Maverick versus Dione Barbosa. Barbosa's coming off a decision win in her first UFC fight over Ernesta Karakesta or something like that. Miranda Maverick coming off a decision win over Andrea Lee. Her losses in the UFC have aged quite nicely. Macy Barber, Erin Blanchfield, competition like that. That ages quite nicely. Barbosa, she's lost to Josiane Nunes by knockout on the regionals. This is an easy pick. Miranda Maverick wins this fight, guys, by decision. This is an easy pick. Miranda Maverick is a lock. Yeah. Next fight up the card, we've got... So this matchup is a favorable matchup for Cody Gibson. This is trying to get him a win because he won the Ultimate Fighter for a second time. Brian Keller coming 3 back-to-back losses. Mario Batista tapped him out. He got submitted again, and Cody Garbrandt knocked him out as well. Cody Gibson is more of a grappler, has that submission edge. He's going to tap out Brian Kelleher, I believe. This really is a get Cody Gibson a win fight. Like, this is what it's made for. He has a 7-inch reach advantage. He has the grappling advantage. He's getting it done. Going to call a round 2 submission win for Cody Gibson. Next fight up the card, Haider Emil versus Jung Young Lee. So Jung Young Lee's 11-1. His first loss was outside of the UFC way back when. Haider Emil 9-0, coming off his first UFC win over Fernie Garcia, round 2 KO. Fernie Garcia is pretty bad, though. Jung Young Lee coming off a decision win over Blake Bilder. I think that age is a bit better. He has nice striking too. I was really impressed with Jung Young Lee's boxing in that fight. I decided to look it up there to make sure. Lee also has a 3-inch reach advantage here. It's going to come into play. He has better boxing, I believe. Haider Emil took a while to beat up Fernie Garcia the way he did. I'm going Jung Young Lee. I don't think he finishes Haider Emil. Oh my god, excuse me. I'm going Jung Young Lee by decision will be the official pick. Next fight up the card, we've got Cody Durden versus Bruno Silva. So we've got Cody Durden versus Bruno Silva. Cody Durden coming off a loss to Tagir Ulanbekov in December last year by submission. Bruno Silva coming off of a win over Tyson Nam at the start of last year. It was like March, I believe. He's been pretty inactive though, Bruno Silva. Cody Durden has had 2 or 3 fights since Bruno Silva fought last. And I could see Bruno Silva lacing up a submission on the ground maybe at some point. But I do believe Cody Durden will get a bounce back victory here. He's looking good over contenders. He's beating them. He's looking good still. I'm going to go with a decision win over Bruno Silva, who's been pretty inactive. I think Cody Durden can beat him on the feet. So next fight up the card, we got Doo Ho Choi versus Bill Algeo. Doo Ho Choi coming off a majority draw over Kyle Nelson. But if you've watched that fight, it should have been a Doo Ho Choi decision. They kind of fucked that decision up a little bit. The judges' scorecards were all over the place, but I really believe Doo Ho Choi just should have won that fight, rounds 1 and 3. But 3 fights before that, all were losses. He hasn't won a fight since 2016. Bill Algeo coming off of a round 1 knockout loss to Kyle Nelson, but it was an early stoppage, standing TKO, a lot of controversy around that. Bill Algeo is the obvious pick, guys. I think he just will outbox Doo Ho Choi, which, famous last words, right? But no, I think he's going to outbox Doo Ho Choi, and his footwork, speed, it's going to play a factor here. Bill Algeo by decision will be the official pick. Next fight up the card. So we've got Kurt Holobaugh versus Kaiman Kraszewski. And Kurt Holobaugh is coming off a decision loss to Trey Ogden in his first or second bout back in the UFC. Kraszewski, he's coming off his first loss in the UFC by knockout. He got knocked out flat out cold by Elvis Brenner. But Elvis Brenner's only 26 years old. He has a massive speed advantage over Kraszewski. That's not going to be there for Holobaugh. That was the biggest problem in that fight, because Kraszewski was still catching Brenner a bit, but Brenner was just too quick. The head movement, circling the cage, it got to Kraszewski, and he got caught with a massive left overhand that would have knocked out the Incredible Hulk. Holobaugh, he's been knocked out in his career before. Kraszewski, I think he's going to wear on Holobaugh. We're going to see a later TKO or KO or a decision win for Kraszewski. I'm going to go with a round 3 KO just so it's not all decisions. Kraszewski wins this fight. Next fight up the card, we got Steve Garcia versus Sung Woo Choi. This one's not that hard of a pick, to be honest. Steve Garcia's coming off of 3 knockouts in a row, and Sung Woo Choi's been knocked out in the first round twice before in his career. This is not a hard pick. Steve Garcia, round 1 KO, lock it in. Next fight up the card, Brad Tavares versus Jung Young Park. So Brad Tavares coming off a decision win over Chris Weidman. Jung Young Park coming off a split decision loss to Andre Muniz. Tavares' leg kicks could be an issue in this, but I think Jung Young Park's going to get it done on the ground. Bruno Silva was able to get it to the ground and knock him out in the first round. I think Jung Young Park is going to impose his will. I'm not calling a knockout or a submission or anything, but I think he's going to grind out 3 rounds, win maybe the first 2, give up one of them, but it could be a split decision in the end. I'm going to go with Jung Young Park by decision will be the official pick. And on to the main event, Amanda Lemos versus Virna Jandiroba. So we got Amanda Lemos coming off a decision win over Mackenzie Dern. Virna Jandiroba coming off a decision win over Lupi Godinez. This is really how I think this fight's going to play out. So Jandiroba did not bad on the feet against Lupi Godinez, but Godinez's boxing is terrible. I think Jandiroba is going to be gassed up in her head, and she's going to try to box with Lemos for a bit, and she's going to lose a few of these rounds. I think Jandiroba is tough. Lemos probably isn't going to knock her out. I think it's going to go all 5 rounds, and Lemos is going to win a dominant decision here, where she's going to avoid the submission threat of Jandiroba, and she's going to dominate on the feet. Lemos is faster than Lupi. She gets it done. Amanda Lemos by decision will be the official pick. That's all the fights on the card. Let's go.